Outlaws' low-energy Saturday night stream. An aging and tired Jose "Chili" de Castro again avoided a promised wall-building livestream Saturday night as he opted out of building his constitutional law scholar board game to go back to bed. De Castro's promise came at the end of a 3-hour livestream that was clearly wearing on the 50-year-old YouTuber. His speech patterns were slow, and reactions distorted throughout the broadcast. Even his character of JD, which is what he now calls his Southern accent persona, took on a distorted lisp. The YouTuber was able to bring out the persona as he called the McNairy, Georgia, Sheriff's Office to complain about former Deputy Connor Bracken. Bracken was recently fired from his job last week after allegedly killing 7 dogs during an animal welfare check on the animals. In typical De Castro fashion, he called his JD after hours on Saturday and was directed by the person who answered his call to call the sheriff's office during normal hours on Monday. He, instead, lingered, giving his anti-police views before the person excused herself and hung up on the YouTuber. The YouTuber offered no updates on his dog Charlie, who he said was deathly ill over the past 2 weeks. This is the second live stream where De Castro has completely avoided talking about the dog's health issues. De Castro had no difficulty expressing his feelings about Donald Trump supporters or the MAGA movement. He said that MAGA has the best assholes on the planet and shared various clips of those in the MAGA movement demanding special treatment or making racist comments. He later clarified that he didn't like Democrats or Republicans or MAGA equally but continued to disparage the MAGA movement well after making shots at Democratic supporters. Towards the end of the broadcast, De Castro announced that if he folded his indestructible trifolds in half, he could cut shipping costs from $11 per order to $6.20 per order since it would fit in a smaller mailer. Since the trifolds are indestructible, they should theoretically recover from being folded in half, while customers shouldn't care as they were saving nearly $5 in shipping costs. De Castro then pondered aloud if the $11 shipping costs were the reason for his recent decline in trifold sales before making a voice memo to change the shipping charge on his website immediately. No mention was made of his Patreon or First Amendment Auditor YouTube channel, which now sits at 414 total subscribers, up 1 in the past day. TeamDLZ.com was mentioned, only briefly, as De Castro confusingly said he'd be putting up videos of his construction of his studio on Constitutional Law Scholar instead of his private server. The move to Twitter/X was again a focus for De Castro, who told the 142 people in his chat to also watch him on his Twitter/X feed. That feed quickly grew to 98 viewers as his YouTube viewers artificially inflated his Twitter/X numbers. Overall, he did 234 views on Twitter to 2,982 views on Facebook as of 3 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday morning. He earned $427 in super chats, which he'll miss out on if he ever does make the switch to Twitter/X from YouTube. De Castro implied that he would be back to live stream in vertical format to put up his wall prop for Constitutional Law Scholar but had not returned to live streaming by 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Sunday morning.
GoFundMe Market Report, November 17, 2024. The GoFundMe market remains dead on the weekend, as only one fund received a donation for Saturday, November 16, 2024. Liberty Trolls support the fight for our constitutional rights fund brought in a $10 donation to represent the only market action for the day. The donation may have been inspired by Liberty Trolls' announcement on Saturday that he was appealing a trespassing conviction in Polk County, Florida, which was posted on his YouTube community page asking for donations. We'll continue to monitor the page for further updates. We need your help. This newscast is funded by your donations along with what we make from our YouTube channel per month. While we did achieve full monetization on YouTube, we still need help to get through monthly expenses and keeping the lights on to bring you the paper and the newscast each day. If you can afford it, please consider donating to the GoFundMe run by this very channel. All donations literally go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing news stories to feature here and on ReallyCoolSite.org. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos and like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in. Mr. Passport Bro fundraises for sex tour adventure. The never-ending saga of News Now Omaha and Mr. Passport Bro, Floyd Wallace, continued with a Friday evening live stream where he declared that he was leaving for either Brazil or Colombia on November 24th, 2024, as he was no longer waiting for his legal troubles to clear up before leaving for his latest sex tour. Wallace had his audience vote on his next sex tourism destination between the two countries, with Brazil leading by a wide margin when Wallace abruptly ended his stream and made it private for unknown reasons. The YouTuber has been known to privatize his live streams whenever he faces criticism from his audience. During the early portion of his live stream, Wallace received criticism from chat regulars for again embarking on a campaign to fund his sex travels rather than on paying his fines for an outstanding warrant in New Mexico and for his fees related to his probation in Texas. Wallace ignored the criticisms, going into a pitch that he would be able to return to Brazil on November 22nd, and there was a town where he had female fans who were dying to see him. He went into his plans to stay in Brazil, if that what his fans chose for his destination, for 90 days, and then would get a 6-month extension to stay in the country. Addressing his pending charges in Oklahoma, he said learned at his court hearing earlier in the week that his blind plea or jury trial for a single count of obstructing an officer would be delayed until December. He then assured his fans that due to the backlog of cases in Oklahoma, his case will be delayed again and would give him plenty of opportunities to resume his sex tourism. Wallace is facing charges in Norman, Oklahoma, for obstructing a police officer during the very last audit that he performed on behalf of Jose Chili de Castro in 2023 before the two had a falling out that ended their brief partnership. Wallace had been accused of inappropriate behavior of a sexual nature by Heather Dollarhide, the wife of former de Castro associate Jason Dollarhide, which allegedly resulted in de Castro providing funding to Dollarhide as part of an agreement that she would not make a police report against Wallace. De Castro, who was helping Wallace with a federal civil rights lawsuit against the Las Vegas Metro Police Department at the time, then stopped helping Wallace with the lawsuit, resulting in Wallace asking for its termination. With his new travel date pending, Wallace announced a new fundraising effort, this time to cover the cost of his Airbnb in whatever country he decides to visit. The results of his poll were not available as of press time. Regan Benson reviews recent exclusion hearing. Activist for the homeless Regan Benson focused on her own issues on her Saturday afternoon live stream, where she reviewed footage of her recent exclusion hearing in the Englewood, Colorado, City Council chambers. Benson decided to turn the viewing of the footage into a drinking game, where her viewers were to take a shot anytime. She slowed the footage down to emphasize a point she wanted them to focus on, warning that her viewers could be very drunk by the end of the 2-hour live stream. Benson also revealed that she had no alcohol in her cup, claiming that she doesn't drink, and ending any point of having the drinking game, as instead of being inebriated by the end of the live stream, she was just her angry and unfriendly self. The footage was essentially the exclusion hearing held over the past week, where an exclusion officer heard from both Benson and the city of Englewood and ultimately sided with the city, upholding a ban from the Englewood City Council chambers. Her ban, or exclusion notice, was issued after Benson refused to follow Englewood Municipal Code multiple times during the past few months, as she's made remarks during the public feedback portion of the twice-a-month Englewood City Council meeting. The notice essentially bars Benson from entering the Englewood City Council chambers. She can stand outside of the chambers and film while viewing through the window, as she did during a recent private swearing-in ceremony for Englewood's police chief, but is no longer able to actively attend Englewood City Council meetings during the ban. Benson was given time to appeal against the ban and was able to attend a previous Englewood City Council meeting during that time. She and assistant Aurora Transparency decided to wear homemade sandwich boards adorned with swastikas during the meeting. The 2-hour live stream featured Benson giving her views as to why she is always right and why Englewood City Attorney Tamara Niles is always wrong. According to Benson, Benson's loss at the hearing, which ultimately upheld her exclusion, was based on the contention that Niles hired the exclusion officer to find in her favor. The YouTuber and homeless activist said she preferred the exclusion officer who handled her previous exclusion order from the Englewood Public Library. That officer ruled in her favor. Benson is still facing criminal prosecution for the code violations that led to her current exclusion. Ron Durbin protests in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Embattled lawyer Ron Durbin joined the ranks of many YouTubers live streaming Friday evening as he and son Lee were live in Osage County, Oklahoma, for the Pawhuska, Oklahoma City Council meeting. Durbin reminded his viewers that he had been ejected from a previous Pawhuska City Council meeting by Mayor Susan Barrow for interfering in the meeting. He promised that he would soon be filing a federal civil rights lawsuit against the mayor for her actions. The YouTuber was in Pawhuska to protest against a $25,000 bonus for city manager Jerry Eubanks. Durbin said that Eubanks has been charged with embezzling from 2 cities he worked for and that the Blackwell, Oklahoma, municipal authority had a judgment against him for over $30,000 in allegedly embezzled equipment. Durbin claimed that Eubanks' friends on the Pawhuska City Council gave him the job of city manager after the previous city manager quit and the assistant city manager recently quit. The YouTuber confronted Eubanks before the meeting and was unsuccessful in getting answers from Eubanks about his alleged embezzlement and need for $25,000. City Council member Roger Millison told Durbin that Eubanks was entitled to the money because he was doing so much overtime in his role as city manager. Millison explained that they would have to move funding from the City Utility Authority to pay for the bonus should it be approved. Eubanks refused to state why he deserved the bonus and also refused questions by Durbin on what he'd use the funds for. Durbin pressed the city manager to no response by Eubanks on the question of repaying the city of Blackwell or friends he borrowed money from who had allegedly been in contact with Durbin. When the city council meeting commenced, the city council was quick to approve the bonus for Eubanks on a 3-2 vote, with Durbin loudly stating that at least 2 of the city council members had sense. After the meeting, Durbin met briefly with a man who had photos of the equipment that Eubanks is alleged to have embezzled. The unidentified man accused Eubanks of approving the sale of the equipment to himself without approval from the city of Blackwell. Durbin went on to update his ongoing disbarment trial by the state of Oklahoma. The YouTuber complained that he had to appear at the trial in person while other witnesses were allowed to attend via Zoom call. He also complained that he was not allowed to use electronic devices within the courtroom, which put him at a disadvantage as most of his paperwork in the case existed in electronic format. Durbin's law license in the state of Oklahoma is currently suspended due to his auditing activities and anti-police statements. The auditor claims that he will have his license reinstated by the Bar Association, then quit the Bar Association and then destroy the Bar Association with a multi-million-dollar federal lawsuit.
Delete laws, fans worried after Sunday broadcast. Jose Chili de Castro's decision to stream after 11 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday night put a hold on what he had been describing as growing his base on Twitter/X, as his late-night stream has only been seen 96 times as of Monday morning. The stream, entitled Cop Vids and Conversations with Friends, was his standard material, nearly 2 hours of anti-police videos and his own feelings on police. De Castro was a bit peppier than Saturday night's broadcast, where he often moved slowly like an old man ordering soup at a Chinese delicatessen, but quickly faded, having trouble reading and keeping his eyes open by the 25-minute mark. De Castro's YouTube channel brought in 2,422 views as of Monday morning, but saw under 200 watching the late-night stream. The activist caught himself at one point, disparaging himself as being a bad trifold salesman when he used to be a good trifold salesman, and then fading off and then forgetting to pitch his trifolds. There have always been accusations of drug abuse on the part of De Castro. Many observed on his Sunday night stream that he looked and sounded unwell. His skin was pale, his reactions were slow, and his lips were pink and stained almost in a mock Joker fashion. This was the second night that De Castro has faced allegations of inebriation and come at the worst possible point for the YouTuber, as he is struggling to keep his empire alive after 3 failed pivots and rebrands over the past month. At times, De Castro was barely more coherent than Christopher Direct D. Ruff's live streams, where he is openly using a bong and then sits silently staring at the camera for several minutes. While DeCastro offered little silence as he would go off camera while reacting to a video, his performance was anything but up to his usual standards Sunday night. Things were so bad that the slowness of his speech patterns was to the level that observers noted that they only came close to his normal speaking patterns by turning the playback speeds up to 2x. These were red flags to some but could be also signs of DeCastro being sick with a cold or depression, or natural means that he did not mention during his live stream. DeCastro made no mention of his dog Charlie again on the broadcast. He said that all of the money he had to go towards Craig Henry and Don Newman's individual commissary accounts had been depleted, but he made little to no attempts to raise funding for either person. When he mentioned that Craig Henry had wanted him to come out for his trial, which starts on Tuesday, DeCastro just lingered off, then changed the subject. There were no attempts to fundraise and no attempts to defend his friend from the charges he faced while in jail. During the broadcast, DeCastro bemoaned the fact that 80% of his content is now demonetized on YouTube. He seemed saddened by the fact that he can no longer show the good stuff, i.e. violent videos, and questioned what he was doing if he didn't show the truth about police. Instead of making it a rallying point, DeCastro gave up on the fight and again seemed to fade away on camera on yet another disastrous broadcast. DeCastro is expected to live stream again this evening.
GoFundMe Market Report, November 18, 2024. Sean Paul, Long Island Audit. Reyes dominated Sunday with a staggering take after his new video saw fans donate more than 3 times the $70 parking ticket he got during a protest using his video billboard truck in New York. Reyes' support the fight against tyranny and corruption generic fund skyrocketed to the top of both the daily and the monthly GoFundMe charts on Sunday, with a $220 take based on his video where he got a parking ticket while protesting outside of Nassau County District Attorney and Donnell's house. The YouTuber has implicated Donnell in wrongdoing by Nassau County Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder, though would not give specifics on her transgressions other than she was friends with Ryder. He received a $70 parking ticket for parking in the wrong direction during the protest, which his fans covered 3 times over in new donations. Liberty Troll came in second place for the day with a $5 donation. No other funds were active on Sunday. We need your help. This newscast is funded by your donations along with what we make from our YouTube channel per month. While we did achieve full monetization on YouTube, we still need help to get through monthly expenses and keeping the lights on to bring you the paper and the newscast each day. If you can afford it, please consider donating to the GoFundMe run by this very channel. All donations literally go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing news stories to feature here and on ReallyCoolSite.org. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos and like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in. DOA avoids arrest outside of Scientology building. It was another eventful Sunday afternoon for YouTuber Defender of Ants, DOA, as he started the day with someone slashing 2 tires on his camper and ended the day with a near arrest outside of the Scientology Center in Los Angeles. The YouTuber spent most of the morning fixing his camper, which he said was the subject of vandals in the overnight hours as 2 of his tires were slashed by an unknown person. He claimed that since he was parked near a government building, he had already put a FOIA request in for the camera footage from 4 security cameras set up outside the building. DOA was unsure if the police would help him in finding the culprit in the alleged attack, but he would at least arm himself with the camera footage before proceeding with any action he'd take in the future. The YouTuber, who was parked near L. Ron Hubbard Way in downtown Los Angeles, left his camper to walk towards the portion of the street that had been closed to local traffic. The Scientology Center was holding a Holly Jolly Holiday Hangout event with a bouncy house and several arts and crafts and food stations set up in the street for attendees. DOA claimed he had a ticket to the event and walked past security, who attempted to stop him from going further down. The YouTuber eventually approached a vendor booth that was handing out burritos but was refused service. The first security guard was then joined by an imposing second security guard, standing over 6 feet 5 inches tall, wearing a sidearm and covering his face with a half mask. Both security guards informed DOA that he needed to leave the area immediately and that his ticket had been revoked. DOA started screaming that he was being denied service and that members of the Church of Scientology did inappropriate things with children. He cited a recent report that two 11-year-old girls attempted to escape the church last week but were forced back into the possession of the church by police. After his outburst, DOA told the security guards that he wasn't leaving and they would need to call the police. The police arrived about a half an hour later with two female officers interviewing both DOA and the security guards about the incident. DOA was being detained by police when his camera's battery gave out, leaving his viewers with a brief cliffhanger before he returned to streaming. He explained that the police were about to arrest him for disorderly conduct for causing a disturbance when he simply walked away from them and returned to his camper. He wasn't sure if he'd be later charged, then ended the live stream to cook dinner for his girlfriend and relax. No further updates to the situation have been released to DOA's YouTube channel as of press time. Long Island audit gets parking ticket while protesting. Long Island audit Sean Paul Reyes released a new video on Sunday in which he received a parking ticket for parking in the wrong direction on a city street in Nassau County, New York during a protest of Nassau County District Attorney and Donnell. Reyes was parking across the street from Donnell's house with his electronic billboard truck when he received the ticket. The YouTuber called it retaliation as he was exposing wrongdoing by Donnell to the public with his sign. The arrogant YouTuber dismissed the fine on the scene and said he'd easily make the money back from his supporters. That proved true on Sunday, as his supporters immediately donated $220 to his generic GoFundMe account, essentially giving him a quick profit of $140 for his efforts. Reyes reportedly purchased the $156,000 truck from his YouTube earnings earlier this year. He later put up a GoFundMe asking for $20,000 towards the purchase of the truck, which currently stands at $11,671 as of press time. Donnell is Reyes' new target in his ongoing war with Nassau Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder. Dubbed Psycho by the YouTuber, Reyes has accused Ryder of massive levels of corruption and leading a witness intimidation campaign against him, despite being free to protest out of Donnell and Ryder's houses without repercussions. The latest protest saw Reyes essentially half-ass production, featuring generic graphics on his billboard truck accusing Ryder of wrongdoing. He never really specified what Donnell did to raise his ire other than saying that she called Ryder Patty in a sound clip presented by the YouTuber. Donnell arrived at her house during the protest with an apparent security detail leading her around to a back entrance in order to avoid questions posed to her by the YouTuber. The security team left the house without incident. Reyes celebrated his latest for-profit protest by taking his truck around Nassau County later that day, showcasing a fan approaching the vehicle while it was stopped at a traffic light and proclaiming the event a success. The Angry Vet calls Alb's Watchdogs investigation. YouTuber The Angry Vet apparently forgot his promise that he'd cut back on live streaming until his present for other YouTubers was finished as he went live for an extended nearly 2-hour broadcast on Sunday, in which he played with a live mouse and called out BZ Watchdog. The broadcast started with the Angry Vet's usual jabs at those in the First Amendment auditing community, with shots at Christopher Direct D. Ruff leading into shots at Jose Chili DeCastro's moderators, some of which are shared by the Angry Vet, and then BZ Watchdog, explaining that he always gave BZ Watchdog a pass because he was a fellow veteran. The YouTuber chastised BZ Watchdog for being sloppy in Watchdog's apparent attempt to investigate the Angry Vet's recent encounter with police in South Carolina. BZ Watchdog recently announced that he did not believe that the incident, which the Angry Vet claims to have suffered a head injury, happened as he did a FOIA request, and it turned up nothing in the system for the time and the place of the reported incident. The Angry Vet said that BZ Watchdog was stupid because he misspelled the Angry Vet's name and that police would never release details of an open investigation. He ranted a bit about this before observing a small mouse running around the sidewalk near him and spending several minutes observing and playing with the mouse. Eventually returning to the outrage, former supporter of Jose Chili DeCastro, YouTube user You Have Rights Cop Shave Duties took a pot shot at DeCastro in the side chat of the broadcast, saying, "Chili couldn't be bothered to drive 5 hours to my court dates, as the court was isolating me and suppressing my evidence that would exonerate me. It is well though. No tack coin, no help getting attorneys. No mention of what they were doing to me on my case. It is like, yes, we need help, don't stop giving the help, raising money to bail people out, don't stop, selfish bastard. The angry vet commented that DeCastro seemed to be a different person after going to jail, with their second ever conversation coming post-DeCastro incarceration. He was hoping that DeCastro had changed his ways and was concerned that so many of DeCastro's followers were now emulating his style in new YouTube channels. Turning his attention to Christopher Direct D. Ruff again, he claimed that Ruff's YouTube channel was recently demonetized, resulting in Ruff pulling all of his videos. He claimed that Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova was now running the channel and that when Ruff responded to messages, it was Cordova. Around this time, BZ Watchdog made his presence known in the side chat of the Angry Vet's livestream. He repeated the accusations that despite the Angry Vet's previous livestream, in which he drove home from South Carolina, the Angry Vet was not in South Carolina on the date in which the incident with police happened. He went on to claim that the event was fabricated as the Angry Vet continued to refuse to share the footage he claimed to have shot of the police beating. The Angry Vet countered that he'll release the video once his attorney gives him the okay and that he should not be penalized because BZ Watchdog can't spell his last name. Eventually, the Angry Vet challenged BZ Watchdog to show up on a panel show that he'd schedule later in the night. That event did not take place as BZ Watchdog instead live-streamed from the scene of a traffic accident in Texas.
Delete loss threatens future police officer. Delete loss Jose Chili DeCastro was a bit more aware and a bit more energetic on his Monday night live stream, again starting after 11 p.m. Eastern Time and focusing on more anti-police videos and a direct threat to a person who was attempting to sign up for the police force. Identifying the person as Braden, DeCastro said he was disturbed by an interview he recently conducted with the man and his girlfriend. Braden, 22, was about to go into a police department to fill out an application to join the police academy. DeCastro quizzed the man and his girlfriend for a few minutes, becoming disturbed as Braden said that handcuffs were an acceptable part of police procedures when detaining someone. Immediately overhyping the statement, DeCastro now claimed that Braden was advocating the torture of suspects who were being detained. In DeCastro's version of the interview, that statement was so controversial that it would ruin any chances Braden had of becoming a police officer. DeCastro, who has brought this interview up in the past, asked his side chat if he should release the interview now or wait until Braden was an established police officer and found himself on the news in a negative news story. The YouTuber seemed to revel in the thought of having the interview and waiting for the future police officer to act inappropriately, then releasing the interview to the public to show that he knew Braden was corrupt all this time but did nothing about it. Pledging now to sit on the footage, with the intent to ruin Braden's life in the future, DeCastro promised that no one will ever hire Braden again once the footage is released based on the controversial statements Braden had made. DeCastro announced that he would be visiting his family next week for the Thanksgiving holiday and that it'd be the second time he'd seen them since moving from Las Vegas earlier in the year. In an update to previous stories, DeCastro is now claiming that his dog Charlie is doing better and is on the road to recovery. Charlie appeared briefly on Sunday night's live stream, showing that he was indeed alive as DeCastro gave him a kiss on camera. Those concerned with DeCastro's health were glad that he was more active during the live stream but claimed that DeCastro's hair is now completely white with bald or thinning patches visible on camera. One observer noted that he could now pass for a relative of former associate Dick Heller. Monday night's video was seen by 2060 YouTube viewers and 192 Twitter/X viewers. He made $63 in super chats during the broadcast.
The GoFundMe market was dead for Monday, November 19th, 2024, as none of the funds that we cover received donations for the day. This was a surprise as essentially, Sean Paul, Long Island Audit, Reyes forgot to include his contact information on his live stream, where he was serving members of the New York City police force with a new lawsuit. When Reyes remembers to promote his main GoFundMe campaign on those descriptions, much like yesterday, he's able to pull in hundreds of dollars in new donations. Monday's live stream pulled in over 4,000 live viewers, and Reyes showed that forgetting to put up the URL in the description was a tremendous missed opportunity for him to bring in more money towards his various campaigns. We'll continue to monitor the GoFundMe market to see if Reyes makes up for his error later in the week. We need your help. This newscast is funded by your donations along with what we make from our YouTube channel per month. While we did achieve full monetization on YouTube, we still need help to get through monthly expenses and keeping the lights on to bring you the paper and the newscast each day. If you can afford it, please consider donating to the GoFundMe run by this very channel. All donations literally go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing news stories to feature here and on ReallyCoolSite.org. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos and like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in. Lane Myers claims setup at court hearing. In a confusing partial audio-only video, Jose Chili de Castro's latest man crush, Lane Myers live-streamed a hearing in Tucson City Court on Monday that he called a setup to serve him with another injunction. Myers was set for an injunction hearing with Magistrate Judge Lisa Surio on Monday. Before the hearing, he was approached by someone acting as a process server who was going to serve him after the hearing with another injunction that was dated July of 2024. An enraged Myers went into court ready for battle and didn't get one as Judge Surio immediately announced that there'd be no hearing as the judge announced she had a conflict and couldn't hear the case. Myers, already angry, began to berate the judge, swearing at her and questioning why, if the judge knew weeks ago that she was recusing herself, that she didn't simply issue a notice in advance. He noted that he took the day off from work to come in and wasted his entire day now for a session that wasn't going to happen. He was chastised for swearing at the judge, but he responded by swearing at Judge Surio again because the court was no longer in session. In the end, Myers threatened Judge Surio with a judicial misconduct complaint before storming out of the courtroom. He then accepted service of the injunction from July. The server explained that he was just given the document when he arrived at the courthouse that morning and had no further knowledge of it. The injunction had been signed by Judge Lisa Surio, the same one who had just recused herself from the earlier case. It ordered Myers to turn over any guns he possessed and ordered him to remove videos from YouTube from a case involving another case. Myers wondered aloud why the injunction could not have been served earlier in the year, as he had been arrested multiple times since then. He also wondered if it was just coincidental, as he had shared those videos with a prosecutor in that particular case last week, when someone remembered the old injunction. The YouTuber announced that the entire situation was a setup, and that Judge Surio acted improperly in not canceling the hearing in advance, setting him up to be served with the July injunction. Myers ended his live stream by refusing to remove the videos in question, claiming they were provided to him via a records request, and another judge had already ruled that they can stay up. He did not return to live stream later in the afternoon as promised at the end of his stream. Long Island Audits serves new civil lawsuits. Sean Paul, Long Island Audits, Reyes live-streamed from New York City's 75th precinct on Monday as part of his efforts to serve officers involved in his arrest last year at the precinct. From what Reyes said on the live stream, the new lawsuits that targeted the officers involved in his 2023 arrest for trespassing within the precinct is not a federal case, but are actually state civil cases. Reyes is already suing the New York State and New York City police in a federal civil rights lawsuit, seeking the overturning of a ban of recording at police precincts. The YouTuber already has an exemption from that rule, as he's the only person in the state of New York who can, via court order from his federal civil rights lawsuit, legally record within said facilities. Today's visit saw Reyes accompanied by someone he called Joe, who wasn't an official process server, but would be serving the paperwork to the officers Reyes was suing. Reyes explained that it was a formality, but he could not serve the paperwork himself. Upon arrival at the precinct, Reyes noted that he had 3,200 live viewers on his YouTube stream on a Monday afternoon, a number that would swell up close to 4,000 viewers by the end of the stream. The process itself saw Reyes and Joe enter the precinct and wait to be helped. Reyes informed his viewers that the actual federal civil rights case had oral arguments last week in which the state was looking to throw out the injunction that allowed Reyes alone to record in police facilities. Reyes eventually had to prod Joe to go to the reception window and tell them he needed help as he was there to serve officers. The woman behind the window asked him to wait as she found someone to take service. A woman identifying herself as Principal Kathleen Johnson eventually came out to take service. Reyes fretted over her status and asked to verify that she was the person who was responsible for taking service of lawsuits at the facility. After assuring Reyes that it was her job to take service, he seemed to accept her, and Joe handed over the paperwork. Then she asked for identification. Reyes refused to give his identification, as they all know who I am. Principal Johnson indicated that she didn't need his identification, but needed Joe's instead, which resulted in a 10-minute wait as Joe had left his identification in his car. During this time, Reyes confirmed that all 4 of the officers he was serving still worked at the precinct and were on duty at the time of service. He was not allowed to serve them directly. Eventually, Joe returned with his identification, and Principal Johnson accepted service on behalf of the New York City Police Department. After leaving the facility, Reyes called Johnson a bootlicker and promised that he would fight for everyone and see all of the signs prohibiting video recording inside police precincts again removed due to his actions. While Reyes forgot to put up his GoFundMe link on the description of the live stream. The live stream earned $49 in super chats during the broadcast.
Delete Law's main channel P-spammed Friday night. Jose Chili de Castro's main YouTube channel was P-spammed several times Friday night as hackers apparently gained access to de Castro's channel to put up several live streams featuring male-on-male pornography. The attacks began Friday night a little after 11 p.m. Eastern Time with a stream titled Emergency Help appearing on de Castro's main channel. It was soon followed by a stream titled I'm So Sorry, then a stream titled Feds Always Win, and finally, a stream titled Chili Bum Bum. All 4 streams have been taken down and were not streamed to de Castro's 3 other YouTube channels. Former de Castro partner Colin Project Constitution Campbell was instantly named a suspect on Kate Peters' Masshole 2.0 Discord server. He denied involvement, posting Project Constitution, yesterday at 11:30 p.m. I know. I am shocked they let it go on like that so long. I hope they nuke his channel over it. Project Constitution, today at 12:01 a.m. I wish. It wasn't me, but my hat's off to whoever did it. Like I said, I've been working on distancing myself from him and he hasn't attacked me recently, so I don't have any motivation to fuck with him. Project Constitution, today at 12:50 a.m. Looks the fun's over. Haven't seen a new stream in a while. I bet he is sitting there refreshing his screen like a madman now, deleting these peace streams as soon as they show up. Like playing whack-a-mole. Campbell is currently serving a 30-day ban from the Really Cool Newswire Discord server's Chili de Castro Fan Club 2.0 channel and had reportedly left the server. A new account began posting to the channel around the same time Campbell was posting on Kate Peters' server. The account mirrored at least one message Campbell had posted on Peters' server. David Culberson, today at 12:10 a.m. Glober mom passed away tonight. What's happening to Chili is divine retribution for doxing her. David Culberson, today at 12:14 a.m. I would love to be able to take credit, but nope, unfortunately it wasn't me. David Culberson, today at 12:15 a.m. Someone got a hold of Chili's backdoor though, and they were bareback. Didn't strap up before they rode him, lol. David Culberson, today at 12:30 a.m. Oh shit, so it was him doing it then. If they hacked him, they wouldn't be able to post as him in his chat, I don't think. David Culberson, today at 12:34 a.m. Last I heard he fired his 2 foreign editors, Mansour and the other guy, cause he can't afford to pay them, so maybe. David Culberson, today at 12:35 a.m. Quite possibly. I'm not sure he and Here's the Deal are on good terms anymore. He hasn't mentioned him in a while. Remember Brian and Paul Unslaved talked mad smack about him while he was in jail. David Culberson, today at 12:50 a.m. Looks the fun's over. Haven't seen a new stream in a while. I bet he is sitting there refreshing his screen like a madman now, deleting these peace streams as soon as they show up. Like playing whack-a-mole. Rumors had been floating around for some time that DeCastro had been sloppy with the management of his StreamYard and YouTube accounts, using basic passwords and refusing to change them even after prominent members of his inner circle had departed. There had also been increasing rumors that a similar style attack would be carried out this month on a prominent YouTube channel, but that rumor had been dormant for weeks. It was also assumed that no one would carry out such an attack, as a simple hack, if proven, wouldn't result in a permaban from YouTube. DeCastro's main channel is still up as of press time, with little to no ramifications expected towards his channel.
GoFundMe Market Report November 20th through November 23rd, 2024. The GoFundMe market has seen little activity in an all-around slow news week, in part due to our own screw-up with shared URLs and increasing concerns about sharing URLs related to the service. Tuesday saw goose eggs across the board as our own screw-up came into play for Monday and Tuesday. Simply put, we noticed our own redirection link wasn't working as expected, so we made a direct link to our own GoFundMe URL, which worked until it didn't. So, no one following the link could access our GoFundMe for most of the week. This led to our hate watcher, who has given up on daily donations, writing to yell at us about various things, including a broken link to our GoFundMe campaign. They used an alternative means to make their weekly donation, which is not reflective in our tracking metrics. We suspect others are having the same problem, though Long Island Audit's Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption campaign has not experienced those issues. LIA's Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption campaign won Wednesday with a $15 donation, Thursday with a $5 donation, and Friday with a $25 donation. No other campaigns were active during this time. As of Saturday morning, our links were again fixed, which leads us to, we need your help. This newscast is funded by your donations along with what we make from our YouTube channel per month. While we did achieve full monetization on YouTube, we still need help to get through monthly expenses and keeping the lights on to bring you the paper and the newscast each day. If you can afford it, please consider donating to the GoFundMe run by this very channel. All donations literally go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing news stories to feature here and on ReallyCoolSite.org. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos and like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in. Rest in peace, Glober Mom. YouTube legend Glober Mom's husband released a video short on her YouTube channel on Friday, confirming that she had passed away from cancer earlier in the day. Glober Mom's diagnosis and treatment came quickly, with just 2 months between her reporting having seizures to brain surgery to her passing. She documented her health struggles on her YouTube community page, posting, Glober Mom, 2 months ago. To those following my health vlog, this week started out badly and has continued to go badly. I had 2 seizures on Sunday. The second was so bad it landed me in the hospital. Since then, I have had a seizure every 8 to 12 hours. On steroids, and will be taking a second medication to get the under control. I can tell you I am terrified about being left by myself right now. My family has stayed home with me, but they have to go back to work tomorrow. It will work out. I generally sleep till my daughter comes home for lunch, and my son is home after. Glober Mom, 2 months ago. Hi everyone. Still stuck in bed, having multiple seizures a day. They have lessened in severity, though. The doctor has upped my second seizure medication, and my dosage of steroids is almost over. Still no word on the status of my biopsy surgery, which pisses me off. I have called on that to see what is going on with it. Hopefully, we'll hear soon. Until then, my life as a cat continues. Glober Mom, 1 month ago. It's surgery week. Just had my pre-op appointment. You know what to expect when I'm in the hospital. It looks like I'll be in the hospital for at least 4 or 5 days. My family will be taking time off to help me for about 2 weeks. We got a rail, so I can get in and out of bed easily and more pillows to lean against. Surgery time is set for 7:15 a.m. I am nervous because they're opening up my skull, but relieved at the same time because we can get treatment done for this. Though we won't know what it is for at least 2 weeks because the pathology has to come in. And I may even have to go through physical therapy because my right hand is not working. All I care about is there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Love you all for your support. Glober Mom 1 month ago. So my oncology came back. I do indeed have cancer. I can't really tell you what kind because the whole time because the doctor was talking, my brain left my body. It looks like I will need treatment for at least 6 weeks. Then a break and monitoring. Then more treatment for 6 weeks. The oncologist is hopeful that this will be gone. Throughout her treatment, she was true to herself, still going after flat earthers and speaking her mind on her YouTube community page. Glober Mom was best known for her "What the Hell, Karen?" series of YouTube videos, in which she humorously called out Karens from across the world. She also famously stood up to bullying by Jose Chili DeCastro in 2022 that saw the YouTuber dox both herself and members of her family. DeCastro was angered by other YouTubers using his videos and had viciously gone after channels with copyright strikes and tentatively naming them as part of his copyright lawsuit against Google, Kate Peter, and Josh Abrams. After doxing Glober Mom, DeCastro suffered a backlash and a suspension from both his YouTube and Twitter/X accounts, but he did not silence Glober Mom. Ultimately, she stood firm and will be known in the community forever for her undying strength in standing up to bullying. Her death also stands as a reminder to how stark a cancer treatment can be and how fast things can progress. We ask of you, if you have any concerns about your own health, to please consult a doctor and get those concerns checked out immediately. We'll be updating this story should her family share memorial or donation links. Denver Metro audits to demand payment from those people he helps. On his Friday afternoon live stream, Christopher Denver Metro audits, Cordova addressed being drama-free and his recent decision to avoid being involved with a cause unless he gets paid for his time and efforts towards that cause. Cordova started with the drama between Christopher, Direct D, Ruff, and others. Cordova claimed to have no involvement in Ruff's drama, and that while he appeared on a show where he defended himself against YouTuber for public safety, he was not seeking new drama from anyone and would no longer be participating in Ruff's live events. Cordova had been rumored to be producing Ruff shows, with direct accusations of a business partnership between the two coming from YouTuber The Angry Vet. Cordova now claimed that he had no beef with anyone, including for public safety, The Angry Vet, and official misconduct. The YouTuber explained that he didn't have time to pay attention to the ongoing drama in the First Amendment auditing community as he was focused on fixing his YouTube channel and getting his life in order following his recent stint of 16 days in jail. Cordova explained that he was so busy with his work that he would be turning down helping others without some sort of compensation for his time. He explained that he had put roughly 80 hours into a recent video project that essentially made him back $300 in profit from the video airing on YouTube. He said that with a margin like that, his wages per hour were essentially slave wages and not worth the time he had put into helping out the cause. He further mocked someone who wanted him to help with a DMV that reportedly did not allow recording. That person asked him to travel the 400 miles to come help, explaining that they were on a fixed income and couldn't provide him with gas money to make the trip. Cordova showed the messages between him and the person and mocked the person for expecting help from the YouTuber if he was unable to provide some sort of compensation. He continued, stating that there was no guarantee that helping the person would result in a video that would make back the money from his time and investment, and claiming that he was in no position financially to help without that assurance. This echoes a similar decision by Jose Chili DeCastro, who recently announced that he could not afford the $1,000 it would cost to travel to Indiana to support Craig Hendry in person at his trial last week for felony stalking. While DeCastro did not state that he needed compensation in return for his efforts, nor did he even attempt to fundraise for his ticket to help out, his actions reflect a growing trend where it simply isn't financially viable to help every cause presented. Cordova told his audience that if they want his help, they should not be upset when he demands compensation. As the self-described Rosa Parks of his generation of auditors, his involvement in the First Amendment movement must result in compensation for his time and efforts, or else he will no longer help out. Finally, addressing the subscribers who unsubscribed from his channel due to his involvement in drama or his demand for compensation, he told them simply not to come back and to stop watching his videos. It implied that if they were willing to question his statement or motives, then he no longer needed them as fans. As part of his refocus, Cordova recently relaunched his backup channel, where he provides reactions to his own previously published